Hey everybody, Caleb here. I want to show off the 1.6.1 update that was released on December 31st, depending on when you watch this video. It was today. But I wanted to go over some of the new features and styles and design of the app. And I also want to note that this app is still in early access, so some of these features may not be fully functional or we may find bugs down the road. And that's kind of the whole purpose of early access, is to build out the tools, build out the features, and find any bugs that we can clean up. Uh, I redesigned the paywall screen. So for first-time users, you're going to be presented with this to get subscribed. All the subscriptions are handled through your Google account or iOS account through Apple. I'm currently on an emulator, so I'm going to run through all this. You'll be introduced with the terms of service, ride responsible, pay attention to posted signs, all that good stuff. Hit I accept and I understand. One new feature that's now added for first time users and first time opening the app up with this update is you're going to be introduced with a tour. And this tour will throw you around the screen here. It'll highlight the stats bar, give you information on the stats, main menu, and it shows you what different things are in the main menu. And on your map flaps on the right, it'll show you the different buttons and what they do. I'm going to show you all that in this video, so we'll skip all that. So one of the first things you're going to see on the top, we'll start here, is your heading speed and current trail. This is what we call the stats bar. And inside the stats bar, you have a gear icon, which gives you the ability to change the theme. So if we want to override our tablet system theme, we can do light, dark, or auto. Auto is going to be based off of whatever your tablet is set on within its system settings. So currently, my system is set on dark, so auto is on the dark mode. And if I want light, I can override it and hit light. You also have the ability to enable different stats for the stats bar. So if you want to see elevation and distance, you can turn that on. You can change the decimal point, the unit, and then you also have the ability to rearrange where they live at on the stats bar. So if I want current trail to be at the very first, then speed, elevation, distance, and heading, I can hit save. And we can see now it's updated the stats bar. You also have a reset button. This is for distance. So whenever the app first loads, it's always counting your distance, and it's kind of like a trip on a vehicle's odometer. You can hit the reset button. It'll reset the distance and elevation and bring back in new data. You also see here underneath, I now have a notification box here that will let you know your current GPS status. I'm currently running on an emulator, and it has a very terrible GPS on it, so it'll find signal eventually, but it'll let you know whether or not if it's looking for a new signal, a signal was lost, and kind of what the status is of your GPS. I've completely revamped the GPS system. There's no longer any idle GPS logic. The GPS is always on. There are certain things that happen during idle periods, but it's not like what it was before. It will do its best to constantly keep you tracked, with the option to also, if it ever gets lost and it can't find you, this will bring up an option to hard reset your GPS inside of the app. Moving down to the left here, this is the main menu. And on the main menu, it gives you all the different options inside the app and features. Currently, I don't have any tracks loaded in. So this is going to be one of the first things you're going to want to do is go to track packs. I completely redesigned this, laid it out a lot nicer. Still the same core functionality. I'm going to activate Spearhead Trail Systems here. That's by Bob T in the community track pack. And it's going to go ahead and download and activate this track pack. And you'll be able to access this track pack and the other track packs at any time, even if you're offline. So now that I got some tracks loaded in, I'm going to go back to the left side here. And one of the first tabs is nearby. And what nearby is it gives you all the nearby waypoints from your current location. And you can cycle through different categories. So if you're needing gas or food, we can see here gas, and I can actually hit this route button here and start route. But you can also look for points of interest or all of them. You also have base map, which currently base maps only work if you have internet connection on your device. It will save in cache if you use them before going out on the trails. This is something that I'm going to be working on in the next update that gives you the ability to download base maps. But base maps gives you the ability to just tap and cycle through. And what a lot of people are doing right now is they'll just hotspot their tablet to their phone. That way they can have the base maps. And you'll notice that the dark mode now has the base map with a black or dark gray. And if I go to light mode, it'll have it with a lighter gray. So that also corresponds with the theme of the app. I'll go back to street. My recordings has been simplified. You'll notice at the top it says not connected. Don't worry about this for right now. This is going to be part of a bigger update where all your recordings and waypoints can be stored to the cloud and accessed through the Trail-by-Trail Command Center. You can import GPX files and recording files in here and create folders and organize all of your recordings inside of this. Same thing for my waypoints. It'll say not connected at the top. That's perfectly fine. This feature is not enabled yet for you. I also added the ability to create waypoints on the fly. So if you have a waypoint, it'll live here. You can also create a waypoint. And if you know the coordinates, you can punch them in here and hit create waypoint. But you can also go to the map and press and hold somewhere and create a waypoint here. And I've changed this also to be much nicer and easier laid out. It'll let you make a new waypoint. You can also click this to copy the coordinates if you need to send it to somebody. We can type in a waypoint name here. We can put test. We can select a color. And I've added a bunch of new icons that you can select from. And if you scroll over, so we'll put a test cabin. You can add notes to it and hit save waypoint. So now that I have this waypoint, I can go to my waypoints and it'll show it here and have the ability to export this waypoint here. But you can also export all the waypoints inside of a single category. So if you want to export just this waypoint, you'd export it here. You can also fly to the waypoint. And you can export all the waypoints that would be in this category here as well. And it lets you export as a GPX or a GeoJSON file. Moving down, we'll go back to track packs. These are all the community curated track packs. You also have the ability to import your own track packs, which currently it supports GPX, KML, and KMZ files. So if you have your own KMZ, GPX, or KML file, you can come here and import the track pack. Track packs are the core of the app. This is what lets you use the routing algorithm. And yes, you can import your own if they're decent track packs and use them as a routing. Use them with the routing system. Track packs and recordings are two separate layers. This gets people confused sometimes. You cannot route on my recordings yet. That's a feature that's going to come, but you cannot do it yet. My recordings are just an overlay that sits over top of track packs. And with the new features coming in the future with the Cloud Sync and the Trail Command Center, people will be able to take their recordings and their group recordings with their riding group and create them into their own track packs that they can share privately or publicly. And right now you can only activate one track pack at a time. So if I'm riding Spearhead and I want to go to Leatherwood, I just activate this. It'll deactivate the old one and reactivate this, and it'll actually move me over here and show me the locations, all the tracks. So we can see move in, move out. Track legend. So now this is dynamic based off of the track pack file. It should be accurate to what the creator or author. The author for this is Tackett Creek Mafia and Bob T. And this is what they considered the colors to mean for the track. So now you have a track legend that will pop up. And this will change depending on track pack. So you always want to look at this and see what the track pack says. Moving into settings. Here we have GPS settings. This is where you can control how fast you want your GPS marker to update, what size of the marker you want. If you want to change the marker, we have a couple icons you can select from here. So if you just want the typical triangle, if you want your marker speed to update faster, and it kind of gives you this battery usage up here and just kind of lets you know that You know, the faster this is, the more it's going to eat up your battery. Trail Snap here. Trail Snap is a tool that helps keep your marker on the trail itself. So if you want more raw GPS, you can take it all the way down. If you want a strong snap, you want to move it up. You just have to keep in mind that it will keep you on the trail the best as that it can. So if you have it real strong, it'll take a little bit for it to update and realize that you're on a new trail. Default's pretty good. I'm gonna hit reset here. Default's pretty good, and but you can move it down to raw GPS if you don't want it to snap on the trail at all. Inside of here, you also have your recording. This lets you update and change the track smoothing, point distance, idle intervals, autosave, crash recovery, save progress. That way, if the app closes out or you accidentally close out the app while you're recording, when you reopen the app, it'll ask you if you want to resume from your previous recording. Keep GPS awake. This will let the GPS record in the background, but you'll also want to make sure that you go into the app setting itself on the tablet and in location and permissions, set it to always allow. If you don't have that set, I cannot change that through the app. You have to change that inside of the tablet setting itself. It will not record your background. So if you turn the tablet off with the app open or put the app in the background, you want to make sure that you have that setting enabled or it will not record. Off to the right, we also have another manual hard reset for the GPS. So if you click on this, it'll reset the GPS system inside of the app. I missed this one here, but we'll click on route tuning. Route tuning, this is what lets you customize how you want your routing experience to be inside of the Trail by Trail app. Typically by default, it usually has the road, easy, and medium trails enabled. So if you want to route on hard, really hard, or single tracks or connectors or water trails, you want to make sure you have these enabled, because if these are disabled, the routing algorithm will not let you route on these colored trails. It'll do its best to avoid those colors. Off to the right, routing behavior, you have the ability to filter out certain tracks. So if you don't want to ride on tracks that start with HM, SP, or private, you put them in here and separate them by commas. Road preference, you can slide it to the left or to the right to avoid or prefer roads. Snap to trail will allow you to route to a waypoint that's further away from a track. So that way, if you have for example, let's see if we can find one here. All these are pretty good. But if this waypoint, let's say, was right here, it'll allow the routing to kind of get to the closest trail to where that waypoint's at. So the higher you increase that, the more it allows for that. Allow gaps. This is a very tiny gap, but this allows the gap for the routing algorithm to jump this gap. So if this green line was back here, it didn't touch this trail. And you'll see that a lot in some track packs. You can increase that number to allow it to bridge that gap a lot easier. Trail switch penalty. So this right here, if you have this pretty much 0, it'll kind of build the route any way that it wants and not prefer to stay on a single trail. So for example, since we have this core trail that kind of comes down through here and around, and say we want to go from here to here, if you have it turned all the way down, it may make the routing go this way and kind of come back around. Or if you have it higher, it will say, actually, let's prefer this track and this track because they're very long and it keeps us on a single track and we're not switchbacking a lot. And this also helps as well. It plays with the trail switch above. Any turns and smoother curves. So what this will do is it'll play in junction with this to where if we're going from here to here, it'll adjust and try to find what's the smoothest way without that many turns within the track itself. But really, you can hit reset on this. A lot of what's here is pretty good as a default. But if you ever get in there and start messing with it, you can always come back and hit default, hit save and apply. And if you're not getting a route that you want, A lot of times you can play with some of the settings in there. Probably one of the core settings you'll probably want to play with more than anything is the snap to trail and allow gaps. The rest of it's pretty good on its default state. Going into the next feature, this is a big one that was requested, is map style. So up here at the top you have tracks. So these are the tracks that we're looking at. If we look here, we'll go and mess with some of the settings here. Map style, we can change the thickness and the opacity of the lines. So do this, you'll see the lines are much thicker now. If I go to map style, we'll go back to 100%. We can change the opacity down, which you guys kind of know what that does. It'll fade the tracks out a little bit. I'll keep that back there. Track labels. So if I zoom in here, you can see where it has LW113. Go back to map style. Label size, I can make it huge. So now the track labels are much bigger. If I go back, I can turn track labels completely off. So if you don't even want to see them, it'll turn them off. I'll turn it back on. And the track outline kind of gives it a, so like on darker maps here, in a map style, turn that back on. It'll give it this white glow. You don't really see it unless it's on black tracks, but you can adjust that as well, and the opacity of it. I'll turn it back up. Also for recording, you can change the color of your recorded line. So if you want a white line that's very dark, we can say you want a very thick line, zoomed in. So you can see it kind of gives you a preview at the top what it's going to look like. If you want a solid line, a dotted line, some people like the dotted look, or solid dashed. And you can turn on and off if you want the direction arrows. You can adjust the size of the arrows and the spacing of the arrows. And we'll reset that. And you also have some different ones that you can pre-select from at the top. This is another big request, was routing. So let me go ahead and get myself set up for a route here. Let me switch track back. Go to trackbacks. Let's do with an area that I'm familiar with here. And I'll go over these buttons on the right here after we get done going through the left menu. I'm just going to set up a route real quick. Let me pause it. All right, so I set up a route here from Coal Country Garage to the hot dog stand. So now if I go back to map style, I can adjust my routing. So I can make the line really thick for the routing. I can lower the opacity for the routing. Reset some of this. You can change the border color for the routing, so if you'd rather have red. If you don't want route coloring at all, you can just make it a solid color. So that way that you know which color your route is. So say we want a blue route color. If you have this on, it'll just overlay the color of the actual trail that you're on. But if you turn it off, you can select the default. So maybe you want your route color to be white, and let's say you want your border color to be black. Make this white, this black. Hit save. So now you can customize the route however you want. I've had a lot of people request different things, so I figured I'd just give them to where they can completely go and customize it however they want. Another one is track visibility. So you can make it very dim to where you don't see the other tracks that well, or you can make it to where it's really bright and you can see the other tracks really well. Going back into map style, that's about it for that. I'm going to reset it. And one other feature that we have here is data. So you can save a TX trail file and export this and send it to a friend, or save it for a backup. That way, if you come up with a setting that you really like and somebody else likes it, you can export the settings, send it to them, and then they can import the settings into their app to have it match what you have. One other feature you'll notice is voice navigation, which is off by default. But if you have it on, sounds terrible on the emulator, but it gives you that option. You also have the help menu, which will go through and tell you different features, different pro tips, support, how to contact us, how to find the YouTube channel. And then you also have your about. About will give you your latest version at the top. Mine says 1.65, but this isn't. Y'all are 1.61. It'll give you a Bible verse, Trail Command Center. This is currently deactivated for you. It'll let you know your subscription status, Facebook, different Facebook groups, open source credits, and special thanks. And you also have an update button on the bottom right, which will take you to your Play Store to update the app. Now, jumping off to the right side, we have, starting at the bottom, if it's minimized, you can click this. This will maximize the map fabs here. The first button on the bottom here, it'll tell you to press and hold. You press and hold this to start your recording. It'll turn red with a stop button when you're ready, and it'll also give you recording time on the top right here. This icon right here will toggle between different waypoints on the map, and you can see it's a pretty big cluster here. However, you can press and hold on it, and they'll let you filter out different lodging, food, gas, trailheads, water, if there is any, and points of interest, and then show all, which will turn them all back on. This right here is follow mode. This will put your location in center of the map. With the map, when it has the N, means the map will always be in the north position, and it'll also give you plus and minus buttons here to zoom in and out really quick, but you can also pinch and zoom on the map as well. When you click on this, it'll give you an orientation, and now the map will rotate based on your heading, so the map will rotate with you like most typical card navigations do. And you still have your plus and minus button here to zoom in and out on your location. One thing I added into this as well is now you can drag and peek and look at the map, and when you let go, it'll slingshot you back to your location. So if you're just looking around the map, that way you don't have to constantly tap this, go back. So now you can kind of zoom out, drag and look around, and figure out where you're going or where you want to go, and it'll slingshot you back. The square button here will take you and give you an overview, kind of recenter you on the map here of all the trails with the pack you're looking at. This button here is a waypoint search, so if we want to look up the hot dog stand, it'll take you right to it. Turn waypoints on, zoom in, and there's the hot dog stand. And this is the routing feature. So currently I have from, but you can also select, usually by default, it'll have from my location. So this is pretty much your starting point. Do you want to start from where you're currently at, or do you want to start from a waypoint on the map? And you can create your own waypoints, and they will show up in this list. So I'll do my location, and we'll do the hot dog stand, and we'll start off with it in preview. Oh, I now have these new warning messages. So I did do this on purpose. So preview, starting point is too far away from any trail. Move closer to the trail and try again. So what it's telling me is I'm way over here. I'm not near the trail system. It's not going to route me to my destination because it doesn't really see any entry points. So that's one big feature that I added into this app, is now it will give you feedback. Before it would just fail and not tell you why it didn't route you. Now I provide some kind of user feedback and saying, hey, you're not close enough to the trail system, you're not close enough to a certain spot, you need to get closer. But since I'm not at the trail system right now, say I'm at home, I can just do a custom waypoint and say, hey, we're going to be leaving from Cold Country Garage, and we're going to be going to the hot dog stand, and let me preview that route. And what you'll see is on the left, I completely updated this. This was a big feature. It'll tell you the total distance, so 8.7 total miles for the route. You now have the ability to hide the route and expand the route. So before on mobile phones, it was really hard because this would take up most of the screen. Well, now you can hide it, look at the route, play with it, see what your ideas and thoughts are. If you want to change something, if not, you can go back to look at the preview of the route, and you can see, okay, we're gonna go this way. We're gonna make a right onto US 52, and then we're gonna make a right onto Trail 10, a right onto 13, a slight left onto 12. It'll give you the turn direction and the trail colors, and then you can just hit start route. And that voice is crazy. Emulator voice is terrible. It will use your app's voice. It'll use your tablet. So if you have an Apple, it'll use that once it's released. An Android, it will use whatever they call the Android one voice. It won't use that demon-like voice. It cracks me up. And now it started the route. So I can recenter on my location, start heading to the route. You'll notice some new things here on the stats bar. It'll now tell you what direction you're going to turn. So we're gonna get on US 52 to the hot dog stand in 10 miles, which is saying is from my location here to here. And then once I get on this will start to update in real time. Tell you make a right on the 10, the whole 9. You actually wouldn't make a right on the 10 here. You got to get on the overpass. This is an overpass, so don't make that right. That'll hurt. Then you also have a new button at the top that says stop, and you can hit stop route. I've been recording, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop my recording. It'll give you the ability, demo recording, category trail ride folder. I don't have any. We'll save the trail colors red, save track. And that'll save it into my recordings. I'm on an emulator, so there's no database or file structure on this. So it would save here, give you the ability to show it, change the colors of it if you need to. Like I said, my recordings just overlay your map. But this is almost a 30-minute long video. This is a really big update. I'm really excited. I want as much feedback as I can on any issues you come across. I completely redesigned the routing system. Oh wait, speaking of routing system, multi-destination now works. So if I hit plus, so we want to go to the hot dog stand. Then we want to go to Ashland Resort Bar and Grill. And then we want to go to Ziggy's. We hit preview. And now to show you from here, let me turn the waypoints off. Here, stop 1, stop 2, stop 3, which is the checker sign. And it'll give you the distance in between them and all the directions to them. And we can hit start route. Holy, that's killer. And it'll give you directions to the hot dog stand. And then from the hot dog stand, once you get there, it'll update to stop 2. And then from there, it'll update you to Ziggy's at your finish line. So that is now working. One other feature I forgot is say you want to ride, say you want to go here, you want to hit that trail. You can click on that trail, you can zoom to it, but you can also hit add to route, and it'll add that track to this route, and we can hit start route. Oh, I'm not close enough. If I was on the trail system, I can hit start route, but I can also add multiples to these. So I can minimize this here. Say we want to hit that trail. That one. Oh, we want to hit this trail. Add to route. You'll see that it expanded too. So I should have that one on there now. And we want to somehow hit this route. So it'll give you a route based off the tracks that you had selected, and it'll fill in the gaps in between. I know this is a lot. I'm going to try to split up the chapters in this for a YouTube video. But this was a major update. I don't know if I can't show you the the cell phone version, but this also should work a lot better on Android phones and iPhones once it releases on iOS. I'm just waiting for iOS to approve it. A lot of this redesign change was because of iOS, which is a complete pain in the butt, but it's all worth it. Some other tips and tricks. If you're looking at a waypoint, you can click on it and hit start route, so you don't have to search up the waypoint. If we want to go to get gas here, you can just click on it, start route. If I was on the trail system, it would take me. You can minimize this, hide that, have a full screen, hide the waypoints. I think that's it. Any questions? Just join the Facebook group, Trail by Trail app. It's a private Facebook group. If you have any questions or comments, just let us know. Thanks.